What did you see here, the stipple? It's only a very light pattern. So whenever you're creating a stipple, this is professionally done, you can see it's all consistent. So whenever you're trying to match in a stipple, you actually do need a stipple brush. You can't do it with a sponge or a bag or anything like that if you want to get a proper finish. So I'm going to show you the stipple brush in a minute. I'm going to do a little review on that. And all this is filled now. So when this filler dries off, this filler is going to be very porous. Yeah, it's going to be very porous. So what we're going to do then, we're going to PVA it. PVA bond, it does two jobs. It helps material adhere to the surface, and it minimises porosity. So if you put a water-based substance like plaster, texture powder, Artex onto a surface without using PVA, the water content will dry out very rapidly and you will not be able to work your plaster, your texture. So what you have to do, you've got to create a barrier to stop the water from the material from absorbing into the surface, either the ceiling or the wall, too quickly. Right, this is what I'm going to use. It's called a stipple brush. This is a professional stipple brush. The diameter of this is 6 inches by 8 inches. This is a hard base plastic, and this is the like rubber prongs. Now you can purchase stipple brushes on the internet. Get like the 4 by 6 inch, which will do a job. And to be honest with you, the thicker rubber, the better the quality of the stipple and the easier it is to do. But if you're just patching up a stipple, you can buy the cheap quality on the internet. I get a lot of comments on my channels on some of the videos about texture and asbestos. Well, basically, if you've got an old place and you're thinking of removing the texture, just assume that the texture will contain aspects of asbestos in it. So it's by the law that you have to call a company out or get a self-testing kit and send it away for analysis to basically not remove the texture. You're going to disturb the dust, and that's not a good thing. There's an old building, and the ceiling was missing where there was a partition. Underneath the ceiling partition there was another ceiling, so I was able to dot and dab plasterboard and able to bring it to the level of the existing ceiling. Any areas were scraped already previously by I don't know who and when, so that made it easier for me. So I didn't do no scraping whatsoever on this stipple. The customer has asked me now to just make it good and blend the stipple back in because they want it removed. Because we're going to match this texture in now, the most trickiest part of matching the stipple pattern is you have to imagine the original texture, what consistency of mix. For a stipple, it's a very watery pattern. So it's a very watery pattern, but as you can see, if it was very watery, see you've got peaks here, they're quite sharp. Yeah, if it was more watery than that, the consistency of the original mix, it wouldn't be sharp like this, it'd be bumpy. They'd be all smooth and bubbly, like a soft bubbly. But because these are peaks, sharp peaks, you know, there's a bit of thicker consistency in the texture mix. So what we're going to do is, we're going to mix some basic texture. We're going to practice on a piece of board. Yeah, so we're going to roll a bit of texture on, then we're going to stipple it and see if it resembles the texture consistency. I've transferred the mixed texture into a trough. I'm going to actually roll a thin band onto the ceiling. That's the one. As you can see, when you just roll the texture on, it makes a little stipple itself, but that's not what we're looking for. So we just put a band on first, only a small amount. We don't want to go too much onto the existing pattern. We get our stipple brush, and we load our stipple brush just by dipping it in just to wet the bristles. Load it with a bit of texture, flick it off. Here we go. similar. There we are, see? And now you can see the peaks come in, looking similar to the peaks that's already on there. So I'm going to continue now, roll a little bit on and then stipple a little bit. So let's just continue now. Always take into effect as well that whenever you texture, because it's water based, shrinks back very slightly. So always allow for slight shrinking back once it's dried. This is why it's good to have a good sealer to take away porosity or to help diminish porosity, so your texture doesn't dry too quickly into the ceiling or the wall. There we are, how's that looking, people? See, the idea is we don't want to crowd it, we don't want to put too much texture on top of the old texture because that will crowd it. Turn this light down or even turn it off. So I don't know if you can see there. Yeah, when all that dries now, this will dry off-white, this new texture. Yeah, drying off-white, and then we'll just emulsion the whole ceiling. Yeah. So as I say, the tricky part about doing this is making sure the surface is flat and there's no lumps. Yeah, so make sure that's done properly. And the second trickiest part is determining the mix. So mix up your texture thick first, and then when you think it looks like the consistency, only a little bit thicker, practice on a little bit of spare board. Yeah, which you can wipe off afterwards, and then just keep practicing like that until you get the right consistency, and then you can lay it on the ceiling as I've done here and just stipple it. Please comment. As I said, I interact with all my viewers at comments. Also check out my alternative channel, Elyite, E-L-Y-I-T-E, on YouTube, because I do product reviews. And it might be something there interested to you, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I would really appreciate it. But I would love to hear back from you, see what videos you want to see next. Any questions? I know you've got questions for regular people of my channel. I'm here and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you for watching. Please like or dislike, but I hope it's helped you out anyway. So until next time, bye bye.